Hi, this is my follow-up video from last year's fishing in Ullapool. I'm here this year with my wife because unfortunately my friend David was seriously ill at the time and unable to come, and my wife bravely volunteered to join me for the fishing. The weather was truly appalling, the worst I've ever experienced on a fishing break in Scotland. Extremely cold, hailstorms on some days every half hour or so or less, a lot of fresh water in which seemed to put the fish off, but I did catch a few with an awful lot of hard work. Interestingly, most of the fish came to the dry flies still, even though some sensible casts of wet flies produce virtually nothing. This is my wife and I trudging off on the final day, going back to the car, and as luck would have it, in the last hour of the last day's fishing, the weather went to how it should have been on a normal year. Anyway, please don't think that I'm in any way disparaging about Scotland. I absolutely love the north of Scotland, especially Sutherland area, and it's a joy to be there in any weather. And although you haven't got an awful lot of fish to look at, just enjoy the scenery, enjoy the changes in weather. So I started off on day one thinking I could get a load of fish from the river that runs into Loch like I did last year. The extra water really put them off, so I did a couple of hours on the river for nothing, and then moved to the main part of the loch, hoping that with the terrain we'd get a little bit of shelter from the wind, which was blowing really hard. You can see the weather conditions there. There's a nice stretch of, well, normally it's slow moving river, but it was quite quick on this particular day because of the extra water in. So I did catch one or two small brown trout on a beaded fly, fishing just beneath the surface, and had a couple of mistakes on a Zulu. This is a great part of the loch to fish on a normal year. My wife and I resorted to 12-year-old talk, so sorry about that.
Trouters, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, I didn't mean trouters. Oh, do you want me to film you bringing it in?
No, it's all right. I'll just. I've got my camera on anyway. So.
Hey, what are you? Brown trout.
Brown trout. And there's no need to wet my hands because thanks to the freezing rain, it's completely wet. Yeah. Come on, little fellow.
Welcome, little fishy, to the world of Woody and the Week.
There we go. I thought I felt one pulling before. So.
I'm not filming until I see you.
Yeah.
I rose several fish by that big stone close to where I'm casting, but they didn't latch on, unfortunately. Later on in the video, you'll just see just how violent the weather conditions were. My hands were really feeling the cold.
And there's a nice little box effort there where you can no, you can get some shelter behind that. Yeah.
I can turn the boat upside down and pick it up.
Well, if you're feeling strong, Marie, yes.
It's barbed wire there. So. You can.
That's it. Okay. Okie dokie.
Trying to extricate.
Picking a pokey. Well, this is all quite nice now.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you about this in a minute.
Mm. Oh, Jesus.
See that?
Yeah. They fight well for little fish, these. That's a nice, it's a nice old trout, that, isn't it?
That's a good size, yes.
Yeah. Shit.
Is that a brown trout?
Yeah. That's it. Oh. It's because there's that little weed bed just off that shoreline there. Yeah. Do not see what?
It's too weedy.
Yeah, a bit. Could just do with a bit of rain to freshen things up. I say we could just do with a bit of rain to freshen things up.
Look at this amazing rainbow. This is from where we were stopping at Loch Cabins near Ullapool. And I haven't photoshopped this rainbow. It's just absolutely beautiful. It hung around for ages. This day I was fishing Verity, and it wasn't playing ball at all.
It's ruined mission.
The stream running into Verity didn't produce a fish, and last year it was very productive. A bit of fortune actually, because I was so late organising this break. We weren't able to book any boats, which turned out to be a good thing considering how excessively windy it was. If you come here yourself, all these little feeder burns and so on are always full of fish, and on the right day you can have a lot of sport. Last year, myself and David, we had quite a bit of sport, just like 10 yards or so from the bank on various dry flies. There's always plenty to look at, especially with the scenery changing. Well, not scenery, the clouds and so on changing every 5 minutes. After drawing a virtual blank on Verity, I booked online to go to Loch, which is a couple of miles away. Unfortunately, that was a tedious walk to the loch because the forestry lot had locked the gate, and on the pretence that there was a lot of forestry work taking place. In actual fact, nobody was there. Ullapool on a normal day is just so amazingly productive for a lot of small fish, around about 10 inches long. Fishing it in the past, there's been times when you get 2 or 3 fish on a cast, time and time again. I chose this bit of shoreline because it was getting a little bit of a break from the wind, which further down the loch was playing a real havoc with casting and fishing. Unfortunately, the best part of the loch to fish is a lot further down, virtually in the distance. There's 2 or 3 islands there, and there's loads of fish in amongst the islands and the weed bed there. It's a brilliant place to come if you've got somebody that's new to fly fishing and you want them to have a good day. Certainly well worth a go. But I really struggled getting any kind of sport at all. Here's some poor little thing that's felt sorry for me. The wind was violently gusting that day, so sometimes I was having to wait 2 or 3 minutes before I could even attempt to flick a line out. So I was thinking of getting in touch with the Guinness Book of Records for this one that's just come in. This is a bit of a speeded up shot taken by my wife, just showing you how quickly the rain and everything moves in. Day 3, I'm back at Verti again along the shoreline. I did manage to catch 1 or 2 fish that day along on the shore. By the way, if you're coming to Ullapool and you want a meal out, I wouldn't go too much by the sort of comments in various online comments about different restaurants. Most of the places that we'd booked for a meal, the online comments were absolutely appalling, and yet the reality was that the food was excellent, the service was good, and I'm pretty fussy when it comes to eating out. The poor Indian restaurant got a right good slating online, and as far as we can see, completely undeserved. It is a good centre from the point of view of fishing, because you've got these lochs, all the Ascent water not very far away, and then you've got going back south again, you've got some of the nice lochs in Wester Ross. One thing I would like you to do, if you haven't done, is subscribe, please, and tick the like thing. It really helps my videos from the point of view of people being able to find them and see them. YouTube tends to bury stuff that hasn't been subscribed to. So no more voiceover, I'll just leave you to watch for yourself and enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you for watching.
It's the last day of the fishing break at Ullapool. Friday the 13th. The weather's a lot better than it has been. Well, it wouldn't be difficult to improve it. Interestingly, as usual, the wind is still 180 degrees wrong from the weather forecast. It should be blowing off the loch shore where my wife is sitting, and instead of blowing onto it. But I'm fishing calm, and there's a nice little weed bed right in front of me, and it's always worth dropping a fly right off at the edge of the weed. So what I've got on is 2 daddy longlegs. I've had very few fish this break, but most interest has come with the daddy longlegs. So it's a slightly different colour scheme, so I might as well carry on with those. I've got a load of trees behind me, which is not very helpful. Well, I've gone right the way along this weedy edge without so much as seeing a fish, having touching anything, nothing, absolutely nothing. And yet I would have been prepared to bet a fair bit of money right on the edge of the floating weed. I'd have chance after chance with the dry fly. Even if they're only small fish, nothing. But the loch itself is probably up about a 1.5 foot, and I think that always makes a difference into how things fish, usually on the negative side.
I got it.
Yeah, good. I heard the camera go on, so... Oh, isn't that typical? Just when I'm going home. Oh, come on, get to the water. What am I doing? What am I doing? For God's sake, what bloody this?